Hello, everyone. This is Judge Hatcher. We are getting ready to get started. We'll give just a minute for the commissioners to all get online. We are expecting all 5 of the public service commissioners to be with us this evening. So we'll get started right after that.
Commissioner Roop joined.
Good evening, Commissioner.
Good evening, Judge. This is Commissioner Kokmar.
Good evening, Commissioner Kolkmeyer.
Judge, did you get Commissioner Holzman on as well?
Oh, yes, sir. Thank you, Commissioner Holzman. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Our court reporter, Ms. Burris.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, ma'am. Let's go on the record. First, I would ask that everyone please mute themselves unless they are speaking. That will cut down on the noise level and prevent audio feedback. I do want to thank everyone for spending some of their evening tonight with us. Today is August 8th, 2022. The Missouri Public Service Commission has set this time for a local public hearing to give members of the public a chance to comment about Evergy, Missouri Metro's electric general rate increase application, and that is file number ER-2022-0129. The Missouri Public Service Commission regulates the rates charged by public utility companies in Missouri to ensure that those rates are just and reasonable. The Commission also regulates the quality of service and safety of the operations of public utilities. The Commission is made up of 5 commissioners. The commissioners are appointed by the governor to fixed terms and confirmed by the Senate. The commissioners employ a staff of engineers, accountants, attorneys, financial analysts, and other specialists in the field of utility regulation. My name is Charles Hatcher. I'm a regulatory law judge and will preside over this hearing. With me tonight are Chairman Ryan Silvey, Commissioners Scott Roop, Jason Holzman, Maida Coleman, and Glenn Kolkmeyer. This is an official hearing of the Missouri Public Service Commission, and the statements and testimony of witnesses will be recorded by the court reporter and are given under oath. The Commission has not made any decisions in this case, and therefore the commissioners nor I can answer any questions, as the commissioners need to remain impartial until all of the evidence is presented. Let's start with entries of appearance for Evergy, Missouri Metro. Please go ahead.
Yes, good evening. This Roger Steiner on behalf of Evergy. My address is 1200 Main Street, Kansas City, Missouri, 64105.
Thank you, sir. And next for the commission staff. It's *6 to unmute if you have called in.
Good evening, Judge. Commissioner Silvey's here.
Thank you, Chairman. And we'll come back to staff, Office of the Public Counsel.
Good evening, Your Honor. John Kleiser on behalf of the Missouri Office of the Public Counsel. My business information has been previously provided with the court reporter. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your brevity. As we did last time. Oh, yes, go ahead.
I apologize, Judge Hatcher. This is Nicole Mers for Commission staff. I apologize for the mix-up, and my information has been provided to the court reporter previously.
Not a problem. We understand. As I did last time, I'll invite any of the interveners whose counsel are present if they would like to identify themselves for the record. Please do so now. Okay, and our process is going to be to call the names that are listed on the sign-up sheet in the order that they appear. We have 2 names pre-registered to testify at tonight's hearing. What I ask is that when I do call your name, please go ahead and unmute. I will then place you under oath and ask you to state and spell your name and then give your comments to the commission. For anyone who has called in, again, it is *6 to unmute. And we will be going slow through this. And I will also make sure and ask that anyone who is on our WebEx call who did not pre-register but who would like to testify, I'll invite those people to testify at the end. Let's go ahead and get to our list. William Davies. If William Davies is here, if he could speak up.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you, sir. Let me swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you, Mr. Davies. Please go ahead with your testimony.
Thank you again, Judge Hatcher. Your Honor, Chair Sylvie, members of the Commission, and the Office of Public Counsel, thank you for your time and the opportunity to comment this evening. My name is William Davies. I live at 6717 Locust Street in Kansas City, Missouri, 64131. And I am here this evening to comment on behalf of myself, my family, my wife and I living in Kansas City, just to encourage that the Public Service Commission take a hard look when approving rate increases, particularly given the tumultuous circumstances our communities in Missouri and across the country face today, and ensure that any rate increase and any customer dollars are put towards customer goals. As was stated, as has been stated in the past and in previous rate cases, it's folks are experiencing a lot of hardship now, both financially, health-wise, as we experience the impacts of climate change and airborne pollutions and water pollution caused by continued reliance on fossil fuels. In my community, in the city of Kansas City, the city has worked over the last couple of years to undertake it's an update to its climate protection plan, a climate protection and resiliency plan to ensure that we are being thoughtful in our considerations for policy making and development as it relates particularly to energy production, how we set up transportation, how we build commercial and residential buildings, how we can go about ensuring that we're putting the health and well-being of residents, Evergy customers, above all else, particularly given the great consequences of inaction around the climate crisis. We talk about these, acting now to prevent a harder future, but we're seeing these impacts now. I have colleagues in St. Louis who are sick today because they were moving out of an office that had flooded due to the terrible flooding that we've seen in St. Louis. I have friends and neighbors here in Kansas City who have been working. We know there was an election in Missouri recently, but who are still kind of feeling a little out of it and sick. Some were sick as a result of exposure to very intense heat that we've seen. So these we talk about. I remember in high school and even college and before that talking about we need to act to prevent off future harms. We're seeing these harms happen now in our state, in our cities, and they're hitting the most vulnerable in our communities first, and they're hitting them the hardest. And it's Evergy, while being an investor-owned utility, it's a public utility. It's accountable to the people of Missouri. And we need to ensure that the people's needs, our community's needs, our goals, including transitioning away from fossil fuels, are put first. And so when considering any rate increases, I would ask and implore the PSC to ensure that Evergy is using customers' dollars to invest in things like greater energy efficiency, renewable energy that's shown to be affordable, cleaner, better for customers and for the planet, so that we're ensuring that we're leaving this place. We're ensuring that folks can thrive now, but also ensuring that we can allow our children and children's children to thrive. I just hope you will all take that into consideration. Appreciate the opportunity to comment and thank you for your service. And that concludes my comment this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Davies. Are there any questions from the commissioners for Mr. Davies? Thank you, Mr. Davies. We'll next call Emily Zahner. The spelling I have is Z-A-H-N-E-R.
That's me.
Emily, thank you, ma'am.
Can you hear me? Okay.
I'll go ahead. Yes, I will go ahead and swear you in, and then we'll take your testimony. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And Ms. Zahner, please go ahead and give us your testimony.
Okay, first I'd like to thank you all for the opportunity to testify. My name's Emily. I'm a member of the Kansas City community, and I'm therefore impacted by the decisions made regarding spiked rates and allocation to clean energy, or more unfortunately, the alternative. I'm here to discuss how Evergy's proposed rate increases will impact vulnerable populations and how it fails to address the climate crisis, affordable and reliable energy. Evergy spends millions of dollars a year on coal and coal plants, and last year Evergy scaled back its plans in Kansas City to add solar power by 2024. All fossil fuel and non-renewable energy sources such as coal are unpredictable and inconsistent with their pricing. These costs are then passed down to customers who are increasingly unable to pay these energy bills. This rate will disproportionately affect those most vulnerable and under the poverty line. We rely on Evergy as a monopoly utility to be using the best of its resources and technologies to run its business, and instead it's using dollars to invest in harmful resources to human health and the environment, such as coal imports. According to Energy Innovation's report, 80% of coal plants in the United States are more expensive to operate than building and operating wind and solar facilities. Climate change is worsened by the burning of coal, creating a vicious cycle of heating and drought that can be catastrophic for grid reliability. Renewables, including wind and solar, are continuously becoming more affordable, reliable, and predictable without the negative environmental consequences caused by coal. It should be invested heavily in demand programs such as energy efficiency and solar and wind. With these investments, we will get benefits of reliable, affordable, and predictable energy that's better for our health and the health of future generations. Please disallow continued investments in harmful and outdated technologies that require investments in health and well-being of our communities. Thank you again for allowing me to speak.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Ms. Zahner. Were there any commissioner questions for Ms. Emily Zahner? All right, hearing none, we'll go ahead and ask if there's anyone else who is on the WebEx call this evening who would like to testify that did not pre-register. Please go ahead and speak up.
Judge Hatcher, this is Bill Feldman from Kansas City. I think I fall into that category.
Excellent, Mr. Feldman. Let me swear you in. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, Judge.
Thank you. And Mr. Feldman, if you would please state and spell your name for the record.
Sure, it's William Feldman. It's F as in Frank, E-L-D-M-A-N.
Thank you, sir. And please go ahead and give us your testimony.
You know, I'm just an average guy. I'm retired, and I don't have anything climate change wise to say. I believe in fossil fuels. I think you still need electricity to get to wherever you're going to charge your car, and windmills and all that kind of stuff cost a lot to put together, and you got to bury the propellers. I mean, they're an environmental hazard as far as I'm concerned. I don't want to get this into a political debate, but I for one have got a totally different idea when it comes to green energy and so forth. So, and I know that a lot of precious metals got to be mined and strip mined, probably as big as this city, to sustain some of this stuff. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say politically. But in terms of the rate increase, $130 a year, probably isn't a lot to a lot of people, but for someone who's, as they've commented before, much better than I did, the economic conditions we're facing for all living expenses, all day-to-day living expenses, it's a pretty poor time to come for an increase in rates. I do understand, our utility, and that everything's up for them as well. So I understand, obviously, costs have gone up, and I don't see any end in sight to it right now, the costs that we're going to incur, but it's putting a burden on everyone. More specifically, and someone asked me earlier to say what I had said before on the informal part of this, is that Evergy did a good job putting these power poles and lines in, and I asked about Facebook and Meta, and if they were paying for a good portion of this, and they said they were going to be paying it in their rates. But the contractor, I think I'm talking about contractor workforce. I'm retired, and I probably didn't have anything better to do than watch these guys work, and they work hard. They work in all kinds of conditions. But what I saw, a quarter or a half of them didn't work, while the other half did. And that was kind of disconcerting to me. Being on your phone and doing whatever, or walking, as slow as molasses as you could to carry a board from one place to the next. It's just, I understand unions and contracts, and you can't always say that there's only going to be this many people on a project or whatever. But to an average guy looking at somebody, and I know it's everywhere, but and you're hard pressed to even find people to work, and I don't understand that, frankly. I'm too old school, I guess, but I don't know what's happened to everybody that used to work, but it seems like everybody's looking for folks. But when I looked at the work ethic, I'll say it that way, there has to be a huge cost overrun in wages and benefits for contractors, or however it's paid by Evergy. And so I feel a little bit sorry for Evergy, I guess, because they got to go through that. But just from my standpoint, just an average guy living in Kansas City, seeing what you got to pay day to day, and then another $130 a year for electricity alone, and to see some of the stuff that goes on, it's just it's kind of mind-boggling. Obviously, I probably don't have all the information. I'm sure I don't, but that's just one person's perspective, and I appreciate it, Judge, for you being there, and the commissioners, and taking the time to listen to me. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Feldman. I appreciate the comments, and we certainly appreciate you taking the time out of your evening as well. One more call. Is there anyone else on our WebEx who would like to testify this evening? And a reminder, if you have called in on the telephone, in order to unmute, you press *6. Okay, last call. Any further witnesses to testify this evening?
Hello, my name is Adam Stevens.
Yes, Mr. Stevens. Let me swear you in, and then we will take your testimony. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. And please state and spell your last name.
Stevens, Stepphens.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens, and please go ahead with your testimony.
All right, as a resident of Lee Summit and a family of 5, I just would especially encourage Evergy to consider the younger parts of my family instead of the older. You know, in 2021, according to the EIA, 74% of Missouri's electricity came from coal, which is the second highest of any state. And I know they've made some great progress, and I think they do a great job with their consumer relations and trying to encourage adoption of energy efficient appliances. But it seems as though, as innovative and amazing of a state that we live in, we could do better than that on our score. As far as for our rate increase, obviously, it's something that all families kind of have to share that burden. But if we do have to make that rate increase, I would just encourage Evergy to put it towards more long-term, kind of future innovative, future-ready services, and less towards the outdated coal-fired power plants that have powered them. You know, luckily been there to power us in the past, but to accelerate that transition away. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. Thank you for your comments. Are there any commissioner questions for Mr. Stevens? Okay, are there any other witnesses, anyone in attendance who would like to testify this evening? This will be our last call. Anyone who would like to testify, just speak up. Okay, I would like to thank all of our participants tonight. I would also like to thank the commissioners and all of the attorneys for their evening hours. If you do have any additional comments, or someone you know would like to make a comment but they couldn't be present tonight, anyone may make written comments by going to the PSC's webpage. That's psc.mo.gov. If you do have any questions for the Office of the Public Counsel, those can be sent to mopco@opc.mo.gov. Again, I would like to thank everyone. The hearing is now adjourned, and we are off the record.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Judge.